Give it to him.
Thanks, Sorick from Waller Street. Couple of things I'd like to touch on here. The hiring of the new detended police officers. I can't be more excited, as I'm sure the remainder of our police staff, what's left of them over the years. I would imagine they look forward to having 10 new officers, as do the citizens of Wilkes Barre and the taxpayers. However, with that, one hiring stands out. Former police officer, Mr. Mark Hill, left the police force about 2 to 3 years ago, is returning, and forgive me, Mr. Vinsco, but the liar, Mr. Caputo, twisting the words of the contract in order to have him reinstated as if he didn't miss a beat. He will be reinstated, according to Mr. Caputo, the liar. He's a sitting member of the bar, definite liar, who thinks that it's okay to have this person who left the city 3 years ago to explore greener pastures down in Texas, couldn't hack it in the real world and return to Wilkes Barre, and expects to come back, again, not starting over as he should, but receiving his level as if he never left, with accrued vacation days and things like that. That, to me, is an utter disgrace if that happens. And Mr. Mayor, I certainly hope that you take action so that it doesn't. 2 other officers in support of the liar Caputo, Myers and Roberts, asking that this disgrace continue. That in itself, I find, is a disgrace, that 2 officers would think that that's okay at a union meeting to do. Speaking of Mr. Hill, who currently has 2 other jobs, part-time police officer in Fairview Township, as well as the PSTI director at LCCC. I wonder how many jobs or pinch and grabs this guy needs. Speaking of which, Mr. Barrett, I take exception to you using your position here, former police chief, to get your buddy, boss, off of charges that he switched seats with his son after his son railed into another car after having a few too many at a bar? Those are things that I find disgraceful, that my city officials that we pay, who receive a pension package from the city of Wilkes Barre, who sit on our city council, use their position as former police chief and city councilman.
Sorry, I'm going to stop you 1 second. You're going someplace where you really don't need to be going.
No, I do need to be going.
Oh, listen to us.
Anything with regard to the LCC issue is not for here. If you have an issue with city,
I have an issue with a councilman using his clout here in the city to get someone else off. Mr. Barrett, are you or are you not a city councilman? Are you or are you not a former police chief here?
You're not under the control of the city.
Using your clout to speak to another police chief in Kingston and asking him not to explore the eyewitness testimony. That in itself, I find this
I'm going to
case.
talk to you one more time.
Of course you are, because I'm calling you out on something and you don't like it. Is my 5 minutes up,
We're
Bill?
not talking about city business.
Yes, I am. I'm talking about you using your clout as former police chief and as a city council person to do that. That's what I'm talking about. So it is absolutely. It is my opinion. It's my opinion that you used the clout of this city and your position as former police chief to speak to another police chief about it. That's my opinion.
yeah, I wouldn't get into this issue here because this has something to do with the city.
It has a lot to do with the city.
Well, until it's, as legal counsel here, I just want to make sure, because I have not had any dealings with this with regard to the city issue. So I want to make sure that, Mr. Barrett, that I would recommend not saying anything with regard to.
I would recommend resigning. That's what I would recommend. As president of the taxpayers, I'm calling for your resignation, Mr. Barrett. I would appreciate you resigning. Do what you want at LCCC, that's fine. But here in the city, no. It's not acceptable for you to do those things. Thank you.
Sure.